I am Dr. Danielle Chum,
Jordana Damon,
Dr. Adrian Starks,
Erin Smith,
Dorothy Tovar, and
I
can change the world.
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 Hey everybody, I'm Hattie.
And I'm Kendall.
And we'd like to welcome you to She Can Change the World. Erin has been observing people since she was in elementary school. Erin took her curiosity and began studying the brain and mental health care. Her ultimate goal is to advance brain science discoveries and translate these findings from the lab to make them readily available and accessible to the public. She also developed a tool called FacePrint, which detects and monitors certain diseases using video technology. Her research has been recognized on many levels, even internationally.
Thanks so much, ladies. My name is Dr. Adrian Starks. I am the founder and CEO of STREAM Innovation. STREAM stands for Science, Technology, Reading, Engineering, Arts, and Mathematics. I am so excited to be able to interview women that are changing the world. Today we have Erin Smith, who has been doing work with coding and studying Parkinson's disease. She has an amazing story to share with you today. Come on in, Erin.
Hi, thank you so much for the introduction. I'm so excited to be here talking with you today.
Hi, thanks so much for joining us to share with us your STREAM story. So tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so my name is Erin Smith. So I am the founder of a technology called FacePrint, and I'm a current sophomore at Stanford studying computer science and neuroscience.
Awesome. So that sounds amazing just from the very beginning, but tell us a little bit about where are you from? Like, how did you start doing this?
Yeah, so I grew up in a suburb in Kansas, and from a really young age, I was really excited about science and about the brain. And I remember some of my earliest memories are of my mom and I turning our kitchen into a little makeshift laboratory and spending hours tucked away searching for answers to my many questions.
That is cool. So you had your own science lab at home with your mom. That is so super cool. So from there, you were doing science in the kitchen, burning a couple things, doing some explosions with your mom because it was safe. So in middle school and in elementary school, what was science like for you?
Yeah, so in elementary school and middle school, for me, science was really this opportunity to explore the world around me. I was able to ask questions, I was able to try to find answers to my many questions, and I was able to really have this sense of curiosity and discovery, and any sort of idea that I would have or any question that I would have, I would explore it. So it was really this, for me, science was really this sense of freedom to explore the world around me.
So when you were a kid and you were in middle school, were you like a nerd or were you not a nerd, or would you have a lot of friends around you that love science or love technology or math? Like, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I think ever since I was really young, I've always definitely been a nerdy child, but I think also I was a very social child. I loved spending time with friends, with family. I loved really involving people in science as well. And so for me, I loved being able to read and think, but I also loved being able to spend time with people. And I found that there were many ways to combine both of them.
So you've liked science, you did some cool things, you had some friends around you that when you were in middle school that made learning exciting. So then you transitioned to coding. How did you do that?
Yeah, so when I started high school, so I didn't have a background in coding or computer science, but when I started high school, I was watching a video by the Michael J. Fox Foundation, and I noticed that whenever Michael J. Fox or another Parkinson's patient would smile or laugh, it came off as emotionally distant. And so I became really captivated, and I wondered if I could digitize and quantify these differences and use them as an early detection and monitoring tool for Parkinson's disease. And so I had this idea. I knew that I would need to learn how to code, and so I threw myself into that learning process.
Wow. So let's break it down a little bit more. You were looking at television and you saw that Michael J. Fox has Parkinson's. So could you tell us a little bit about what Parkinson's is?
So Parkinson's disease is a brain disorder where patients experience a lot of different symptoms, especially movement problems. And so we typically associate Parkinson's disease with a tremor or difficulty walking.
So after seeing that, you thought, how can I help people that have this disease to be able to relate better with the world? Am I right?
Yeah. So I wondered, how can I help improve the quality of life for Parkinson's patients? And would it be helpful if they had a way of early detection and also monitoring of the disease?
So you decided, here's this problem. I want to be able to solve it, but you're not a doctor. You're in high school. How did you decide I want to solve such a big problem as a high school student that had just left middle school?
Yeah, so I think for me, I definitely felt pretty overwhelmed and uncertain about how I would do this. But I found that for me, the secret weapon was YouTube. So YouTube was where I found the video of the Michael J. Fox Foundation. It was how I had the initial idea. And then also ultimately, when I decided that I wanted to learn how to code, I started just searching into YouTube, started searching into Google, for different coding tutorials. And so I was able to find a ton of different materials, a ton of different videos, a lot of colleges who have put a lot of their curriculum online for free. And then I was able to work through those YouTube and other internet tutorials to learn the basics and learn the fundamentals.
So are you telling me that for middle school and high school, you did not take a class from anywhere else, but that you went to YouTube to teach yourself how to code?
Yeah, so where I grew up, I was at that point I hadn't met anyone who lived where I did who had a lot of experience coding or with computer science. And so what I did was I learned how to code on YouTube, and then I also was able to reach out to different people on email to see if they would be able to be mentors to me. And so I was able to find a lot of really amazing local and then also national mentors who helped me kind of when I was further along in the process.
That is amazing. So once you taught yourself how to code, what did you do with that? Were you able to show anyone else how to code since so many people were helping you out?
Yeah, so after I learned how to code, I had this moment of realization where I realized that I was one of the first people at my school district, in the town that I lived, that had really learned how to code and learned how to build an app. And so I wanted to really pay it forward, and I wanted to help teach other people how to code, specifically other middle and high school girls. So I started an organization called Kansas City STEMinists, where I taught different middle and high school girls how to code and how to use computer science to address societal issues that they were really passionate about.
Wow, that's amazing, because sometimes adults don't listen to middle school and high school kids. How was it when you were trying to tell them, I want to teach other people how to code, especially other kids your age, because you weren't 50 saying that you wanted to create an organization. You decided in high school, I want to do this. How do adults respond to that?
Yeah, so I was 16 when I decided that I wanted to do this. And I think at first adults didn't really understand and were a bit confused. But I think what really made them understand was I had like a demo day at the end of the program where all the girls, all the middle and high school girls showed the app that they had built. And none of them came in with prior coding or computer science knowledge, but all of them were able to make really, really amazing apps. And I realized that young people have so many amazing ideas, and sometimes they're not always taken seriously by adults. But if we just believe in ourselves and believe in our ideas, then we'll be able to learn what we need to make them possible. And so the girls in the program, they built apps from everything from helping to prevent food waste in our community to taking care of animal shelters to anything and everything in between. So it was a really inspiring process, and especially inspiring for the adults to see.
That's so awesome. So before you in Kansas There was no one else at your age that was coding at the level that you guys were doing it. So you decided as a middle school or a high school student, I'm going to learn how to code. I'm going to teach my friends how to code, and we're going to do awesome stuff. So going back to Parkinson's, you decided I want to use my coding to help people with Parkinson's. So you were in high school, getting ready to graduate from high school. How did you decide what you wanted to do? Like, what was that process like?
Yeah, so for me, so at that point, I was spending a ton of time working on this technology. And so I was really uncertain. I had always planned on going straight to college, but I realized that I was spending so much time on this technology that I decided to take a gap year to focus on it full time before I would ultimately start at college. So for me, the choice to take a gap year, it was really daunting. I hadn't met and I didn't know a ton of people who had done that, and I was really uncertain about it. But for me, it turned out to be an absolutely amazing choice, and it really helped prepare me to start college, and I learned so much throughout that process as well.
So you took a gap year. Wow, there are a lot of students that between high school and college decide to take a year off to figure some things out or do something amazing like work on a technology. Talk to us a little bit about during that gap year, what that meant. Like you were preparing to get ready to go to college, you were working on something else. Tell us some of the feelings that you had when you were in that gap year.
Yeah, so during the gap year, I was doing this program called the Till Fellowship. So I moved to the San Francisco Bay Area and I was working on FacePrint full time. And I was especially focused on working on more of the company and the commercialization side of FacePrint. So I was really thrown into the world of entrepreneurship, of companies. And I found that that was really exciting. So I was focused on that. And then I was also focused on continuing the research and more of the clinical validation or clinical studies of FacePrint, and really love that combination.
So during your gap year, you started a company.
Yes, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about this company that you started in your gap year. So you did not waste your gap year at all. You decided you were going to go full forward, work on your company. How did that happen?
Yeah, so I started to realize, so during high school, I was really focused on the research and the science side behind FacePrint and behind this technology that I developed for Parkinson's disease. But as I started to talk with different people through science fairs at a local level and then ultimately an international level, I started to get a lot of interest. So a lot of doctors, a lot of people in the pharmaceutical industry, a lot of different people would come up and they wanted to know how they could start using FacePrint or how they could adapt it to these different use cases. And so I realized that if I wanted to take this technology and bring it to the world and have it create as large of an impact as possible, that I needed to make a company around the technology. And so that was really the inspiration for why I decided to build a company and why I decided to commercialize the technology.
So I need everyone to take a quick pause and think about this. Erin did not know how to code. She taught herself how to code. She taught other people how to code. And then she uses that in high school to create a company that would help people with Parkinson's using coding, which is amazing to do. Sometimes other students think that you might be a unicorn, that you're the only person that could do that because you had so much help around you and that no one else can do what you do. Can you talk about the fact that having a problem, coming up with a solution is something that anyone can do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that now that it's been so many years since I started this journey, it's easy for people to look at it and think, oh, wow, like this is amazing. Erin must have woken up one day, had this idea, and been able to just build this and create the company. But I think in reality, it was way more messy and took way more time than that. In reality, it was more of a series of little baby steps. It was feeling scared and overwhelmed and not sure if I could do this, but then taking that one step forward. And so I think for me, as I've been able to work with lots of different people, especially different young people around the world, I've realized that everybody has amazing ideas. I think that everybody has ideas that could change the world. And so I think for me, I've learned that the most important thing that we can do is when we feel overwhelmed, when we feel uncertain about if we could really make this happen, if we could really build that technology, if we could really start that nonprofit, if we could really pursue that idea, I think the most important thing is just taking that one baby step forward. And then that one baby step will lead to another, which will lead to another. And that's really the process of innovation and change. It's not this magical process where you just wake up one day and are able to do it all.
I think that's really awesome. So could you go back to when you were in middle school? What advice would you give middle school students that are looking to do something very cool, very similar to what you're doing?
Yeah, so the advice that I would give to my younger self and to other middle school students, and I kind of feel like I'm talking to my younger self, having the opportunity to talk to all of you today, but the advice that I would give is really to believe in your ideas and to take time to think about what are areas that you're most excited about. What do you spend your free time thinking about? What types of movies do you like to watch or books do you like to read? And what type of ideas are you really excited about pursuing? And then to believe in those ideas, to take your ideas seriously, and then to find one baby step forward. What's the one thing you could do to help turn this idea into reality? And then take that step today. I think that when I think back to my middle school self, I think that she was really scared and overwhelmed and wasn't really sure she could do it. So I'd also say that you won't wake up one day with confidence or with the bravery, but instead it will be a series of days, a series of months, even a series of years where you continue to take one step forward, and that will really help turn your ideas into a reality and also help you develop the confidence and the bravery that you need to interact with the world.
Awesome. That is amazing. Absolutely amazing. I use everything that you said for myself as well. So I want to thank you, Erin, for sharing your STEM journey with us, telling us how you went from living in Kansas, teaching yourself how to code, coming up with solutions to problems that can help anyone else in the world battling a disease, and all of the amazing advice that you've given us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
So if you would like to learn more about Erin Smith and the work that she's doing with FacePrint and be able to follow the amazing things that she's doing, please go to the If Then collection.